What's going on, everybody? I'm John Welsh, and I'm the gentleman.
And I'm Alex Stanford, and I'm the scholar. What's up, everybody?
It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and we are here. And where is here?
That would be this fine gentleman, Johnny.
The smoking section, mobile cigar lounge.
The smoking section, mobile cigar lounge. I have been wanting to do a show in here since before I had the idea for our show. This was like, this is where we want it to be because it is so freaking cool. But we have a little bit of spring cleaning, family business stuff we have to do before we get into the shenanigans. Because I dare say we're going to have some shenanigans.
Oh,
we need to make sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, like the video, drop a comment, do what you do, spread the love. Because we are just over 80 subscribers now, and we talked about this. Once we hit 100 subscribers, we're going to do our very first live show with an Ask Me Anything section.
Yep.
And I want the questions to be challenging. And I don't mean like, you know, can you define what happens beyond a sports child's radius on a singularity? You know, I mean, you know, something fun. Ask us something fun, and we'll get crazy with it. We also need to thank our official sponsor of the show, Bailey Cigar Room off Veterans. It's your one-stop shop for all your tobacco-related products, except cigarettes. Why?
Because they're disgusting.
Because they're disgusting. That's right. Always go see Jamie and Gary. It's a good time. A lot of events there. Nice little humidor. But speaking of humidors, we got one in here.
Got one right here.
We got one right here.
We got a mobile.
And the last piece of news before we get into the party is we need to let the world know that yours truly just got offered a job as a writer for the online magazine, the Not Gentlemanly Cigar Smokers magazine, and I accepted. And so now I'm going to be writing crazy autistic reviews for this magazine. You're going to see my mug everywhere. You're going to see the pictures by this guy. We're breaking out, man.
Yeah,
we're getting up. We've been contacted by some other sponsors, and we're trying to sort all that out. But it's a very exciting time to be a cigar geek with your cigar bros.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it.
So, how you doing, Mr. Johnny?
Fantastic.
Awesome, awesome.
Loving life.
I know you're a busy man, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to hang out with a couple of old guys.
Yeah, right.
Sip some whiskey, smoke a stick. What's on the menu for this evening, sir?
Well, we have a Aging Room Quattro. It's a 2019 Cigar of the Year.
Oh,
excellent, excellent cigar.
Oh. And I make this face because I've smoked a number of them, and I'm like, oh yeah.
I have not.
It is okay. So here's what I love about Aging Room. It's not one of the big brands.
Yeah.
No one talks about it. If you go online in the groups, in the chats, and you see people are all excited about, there's a lot of Padron love, a lot of Perdomo love, a lot of Acid love, because who let them in the room? I don't know.
Nobody.
But like, no one talks about Aging Room. And it's a little sleeper stick. The first time I had one, I was just like, I'm never forgetting the name Aging Room. Never. It is by far the best Aging Room stick that I've had. I've had a couple, and it's everything that I like about a cigar. So
I think they made it up to like number 8 or something before, but this is the first time they paired with AJ Fernandez and made it up to number 1.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy. That man knows it.
You're right. I didn't hear a lot of it. You know, it didn't get the buzz like the
no, and
the,
every time I see a seller who has that in their humidor, I'm just like, this guy knows what's up. Because that's not going to be from the, like, you know, give me the most popular stuff. Yeah. That's somebody who like knows, oh, that's a good stick.
I was actually shocked my distributor was carrying most of the time, if they're on the top 10, you got to wait 4 or 5 years just to get them. You know.
Wow. Well, let's say hello to the lovely ladies. Bring them out.
You know what I love about Johnny is the every time that we're on here or whatever, and someone comes in, they're like, "Hey, let me get an acid." He's like, "Well, they don't say acid. What do they call them? Sugar cane.
Sugar cane.
Can I get one of them sugar cane sticks?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure."
Oh,
like, what's he mean by that? Acid?
This is beautiful.
Oh yes.
So this is Nicaraguan, and a lot of people think that Nicaraguan tobacco is now superior to Cuban. I disagree. It's very good, and at best it can make a acceptable substitute, but I just don't think it quite.
Well, everybody has their opinion.
Delivered, but everybody has their opinions. That's right.
Ethan would be happy though.
Yeah. Oh,
he
yeah.
knows his Nicaraguan.
Yeah. Ethan's all about his Nicaraguan cigars. So it's firm. I love how they have like a give to their push. They're not too soft, but they're not overly firm.
I'm already smelling all the things I might be tasting.
Here you go, sir. All right, let me try my dry pull here. Oh, that's dark chocolate.
quick I promise. All right.
With a little bit of cedar. With a slight hay on the finish. I'm getting chocolate, cedar, and hay. What about you, John?
Hay's very... Ooh. You weren't kidding about the chocolate.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got the chocolate and I got the hay. And a hint of something sweet. I can't put my finger on it yet.
Maybe caramel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Might be power suggestion there. I'm not sure.
Right.
No, well, I got the sweet. Definitely get some sweet in that caramel.
All right.
Push it in there.
Okay, here we go. Woo! This is fancy. I saw this torch and I was like, we're putting this on the show. Man, it puts out some juice.
Torch.
All right. Ooh, right off the bat, really dark chocolate.
Jeez. You're not playing with this thing. It's like a jet engine.
Like a toasted creme brulee. That's what it's like.
Where'd you get that at, Johnny?
Paul, the Murphy's Law.
Oh yeah. It's it's definitely a flame.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Whoa. I'm catching the after the first pull. Ooh. The finish is strong. I like it.
Almost like a toasted oat finish.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
It's one of those cigars where it's like it can't make up its mind whether or not it wants to be like a steak dinner cigar or a dessert cigar, because it's got that full flavor like a steak cigar,
Yeah.
but then it's kind of sweet, and you're like, ooh.
You know the aftertaste that you get when you have a good, like I'm talking about good French toast. You know what I mean? That after cinnamon taste.
Not the Denny's?
No, not Denny's.
Okay.
I'm talking about the good stuff. This has that. It's like it's a great pull, and then the finish is like, oh, I'm not done.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, just when you think it's giving you all it's going to,
Yeah.
then you lick your lips and you're like, oh.
There you are.
That's one of the things I liked about it was the aftertaste. Once you take it away, it's not bitter at all. It's just
Oh, the ones where you can just like lick your palate and it's just a lot of extra flavor. Not all cigars do that. Sometimes you're just like, oh, that's kind of nasty. Not into that. But she's all about it, man.
Yeah, I have so many questions for you. I mean, I know some of them, but I got so many more that I want to ask you. How did this come to be?
Well, I was rebuilding a camper. We had this camper. We camped in a couple of times. It's a 1972 Airstream Overlander, and we camped on it, but it was kind of old and musky. I picked it up in somebody's field, just all oxidized and gray and ugly, and I told the wife, I said, I'm going to rebuild it as a camper. And I tore it all the way down the skeleton, all the way to nothing. And when I was getting ready to rebuild it, I thought, well, I'm not working right now. Why don't I open up a business? Because Baker Hughes recently retired me, and I had a choice. I could either go find me another job, stay retired, or I could make my own job. So I said, I'm going to make my own job. And I was sitting here working. I thought about a food truck at first because I've done a lot of cooking in the past.
Yeah.
And then I thought, that's almost like a real job. I don't want a real job.
This is like the most not a job I could ever imagine. Like, what do you do?
The best job.
Yeah. But I decided, I come up with I knew golf, I knew barbecue, and I knew oil field, and I knew cigars, a little bit about cigars. And I didn't want to do the other three. They're all saturated out. So I said, I'm going to do something with cigars. And I was excited. I thought I invented it. And then I went home and Googled it. And I found one in North Carolina and one in Florida, an Airstream that's been converted into a bus. And I looked at theirs, and a couple of hockey players in Florida paid $90,000 to have somebody renovate their Airstream. And I looked at that and I said, I can do better than that, And so I got out the woodworking tools and went to work. Went home and told the wife I got good news and bad news. Says, bad news, you don't have a camper anymore. And the good news is I'm going to open a business. And so it turned out great. We had a blast building it. It was a hoot. Took me about a year. It took me 6 months to tear it apart and 6 months to build it back. Had a really good friend of mine, Pat St. Julian, ran into him at the carpenter shop and asked him a question about wood. And next thing you know, we're long life friends, and he gave me full reign to his wood shop and all his knowledge and his tools. And
Wow.
And me and him become fast friends. I'm actually redoing another camper now that I told the wife that I had to get her another one since I turned her camper into a deal. So I'm rebuilding another one as a camper. But anyway, great guy.
I'll never forget the first time I saw your camper. It was at Festival International, and it was probably 4 years ago, maybe. I don't know the concept of time.
This is my 5th year doing this.
So I could be wrong, but I'm just guessing because it was a long time.
Yeah.
And I was walking, and I saw it, and I wasn't as into cigars as I am now. You know, I didn't have a 2-stick-a-day addiction like I've got now. I was maybe one a month. And I walked, and I saw it, and I was like, yeah, I really don't need a cigar. I mean, I'm with the family, we're walking, but as soon as I looked inside, I was like, I kind of want one now. It made me want to come have one just so I could sit in here and be like, look at me, this is awesome. And like, so just as a marketing perspective, as a tool of persuasion, it's a brilliant concept because you don't even need to be a named consumer before you're like, actually, now I am.
Yeah.
I want one just because of this.
Yeah.
And so, top marks. That's awesome.
I don't mean to jump over, but wow.
Do the retro hail. It's delicious.
Wow. Like, I'm not finding anything I don't like. Like, normally I could pick something apart, but this is like everything about it is good. Sorry, I had to put that out there.
It's great because sometimes it feels like it's going to be a full body. The next thing you know, it's nice and mellow and creamy.
Mm-hmm.
It covers
it's
all
like
the
it's like whatever you need it to be.
Yeah,
it's the perfect woman.
It'd be a good breakfast cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
And the band is so unassuming.
Yeah.
You know, you have a lot of these where they're like, there's like this much naked tobacco, the rest is the band because it's so ostentatious and overlaid. This is just a little like, yeah, hi, I'm an Aging Room. I'm from Nicaragua. I'm gonna rock your world. You know, it's crazy.
Aging Room. Wow. It's killing me, man. This is so good.
Mm.
And so, where else can we get them besides from you?
I'm assuming everybody cares. And it was 2019 Cigar of the Year, so
it's pretty popular. Most stores do carry it.
They don't have them. They should.
Yeah, they better.
So I was looking in your humidor, Johnny, and you have a really impressive selection for only having so much space.
Yeah.
You know, I saw you have a couple of Cigars of the Year winners. You've got the Perdomo 20th.
Bijou.
You got the Bijou, and then you've got the Aging Room. This is off the top of my head that I can remember.
Olivia V.
The Olivia V, that one?
Yeah, the Milano.
Yeah.
2014.
I also saw you have some Leaf Sumatra in there.
Well, I got those from y'all. In the past, I carried the Connecticut and I've carried the Maduro, and I liked them pretty good, and they sold pretty good. Of course, my crowd always wanted to smoke them with the wrappers on. I don't get a lot of experienced smokers in here. But after I watched y'all's show, I thought, I need to try this, and I've never tried that one. That's the only one I hadn't tried.
So
I love it, yeah.
Have you ever thought about like airing an episode while you're parked outside of the brewery?
I've put y'all on before, but I always have so many things going on. People coming in and out, people talking all the time. I really just, I usually put on Grit, the old black and white country music.
The westerns, yes, I know, Johnny, I know.
That's the least most political thing going on, you know. So
heck yeah,
don't want to
no one's going to complain about that.
Yeah, back when the good guys and obvious were very obvious,
yeah,
and you knew who was going to win.
Yep.
So let me ask you this, Johnny: what do you think is the biggest market for you as far as like type of customer that you get? What do you get hired to do the most? Weddings.
The Bayou Teche is my go-to spot. When I first built the trailer, they were just getting with the big brewery that they built, and I went out there and asked them if I could park out there, and they said, "Yeah, come on out." And so after my first weekend there, they come in the trailer after the day was over, and they said, "You have carte blanche." He said, "You can come out here anytime you want." They just loved it out there, and I have a pretty good following out there. A lot of people come out there. But I make my money off of weddings. People come up. I can sit out the brewery for 3 days and make X amount of dollars. I can do one wedding and make that, you know.
Wow.
The weddings are excellent. They have an open humidor in the weddings, and they'll keep it going all night long. And I'll find excellent cigars sitting in the ashtray when the night's over.
So let me ask you.
Your eye sometimes.
Let me ask you this: for people who might be curious about hiring you, I know that as soon as Lindsay saw my face when I saw that she's like tucked it away, like I'm gonna hire this guy at some point, you know. But she didn't have any idea like what events really were better suited to you as opposed to like, no, there's not enough people here, or like the prices or anything. What size wedding do you think is like the perfect size for you to do?
One last I did yesterday at Bayou Rome was 300-person wedding, and it's really hard to tell because people come in little groups, and I've had 50 people weddings that all 50 of them try to get in here at the same time. And the crazy thing about building this trailer is I had to put the cash register and the humidor in close proximity, so that's everybody's gathering spot. And so every time I walk in the door, it's like, well, y'all move to the back. But it's a clog right there, and it's I didn't know what else to do with it, but it don't matter how big the wedding party is, it fills up in here all the time. I'll sit around for the first hour, 1 or 2 people coming in. As soon as everybody gets a little liquored up, I want a cigar. You know?
Well, I know when you did my birthday party, which was like the single greatest party I've ever had, by the way. So like you guys deserve top marks for making that night like one of the best nights ever. The biggest problem I had was that I felt like I would get in trouble if I just stayed the whole night in here. You know, because we had everybody else outside doing something, and I thought like, well, I probably should like go talk to everybody.
We had DJ, we had bartenders, we had everything.
It was crazy.
It was good.
But what are your?
But when I first started, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when I first started, I had plans to go out to a lot of bars that are pretty popular, and park outside. But just like you said, the guys would come in here. The next thing you know, the women are coming here, pissed off because their old man's sitting in here for a cigar's an hour and a half commitment.
Yeah.
Away from them. And so I figured out the bar scene's really not for me. That's why I went to the breweries and started doing the weddings. And I do really good with private parties and really good with festivals.
Wow.
But
all right, guys, we need to take a break. First, third, notes, comments. Johnny, kick us off. We are wrapping up the first third.
I love it. I think it's a really, really good cigar. I wish it was a Gordo just because I prefer a really big cigar. That's just me. But if I'm going to smoke this size.
I know you're a big fan of the Underground Maduro. Compare.
I actually like this better.
Okay, thank you. I was really hoping you were going to say that. And I was like, man, if he says he thinks the Underground better than this.
With reason the Underground is my main one is because when I'm working, I need my everyday cigar that I can count on that's going to stay lit. It's going to be a cool draw when I pull on it. I don't get to sit down and enjoy a cigar because I'm outside, inside, dumping ashtrays, ringing up cigars.
Are you saying you envy our job?
Oh, yeah, I do. I'm not saying it's hard work, but, I don't really get to sit down and enjoy the cigar. That I don't want to ruin the cigar by not giving it the credits of enjoying it like we're doing now. You know?
Every time I have this cigar, it's like I forget how good it is.
Yeah, I can tell you're going on.
Oh my goodness, I'm abusing this thing. I'm smoking it way too fast, but I can't help myself.
It's like this is a dessert cigar. I wouldn't say this is like a one you have with steak and stuff like that. This is the finish.
And if you want to recreate the full experience at home, this is Woodford Double Oaked.
Oh yeah,
it pairs beautifully.
Yes,
it is.
It does.
With
lovely.
anything.
With anything.
What are you drinking? Vodka? You should follow with some Woodford. It pairs great.
Now I'm telling you, there's, like you were saying, it's a cool pull. It's not like like when you got to really pull to get everything out of it. It's rich, but not too rich. There's I'm getting a hint of oak, a coke, like a coca plant type stuff, and then the finish is kind of like a I'm telling you, it's like a cream to me, not like cream.
No, there is a creaminess to it.
Yeah, but there's that's what I'm saying. It's like taking the foam off of a latte or something. You know what I mean? It's just like it's so like good.
So the cigar that this reminds me the most of, as far as like the overall experience, construction, burn, pull, is the My Father Bijou.
Yeah.
I find
Excellent cigar.
that like I probably, if you blindfolded me and made me go back and forth, I don't know if I could tell the difference because they're both so amazing.
Well, I've never had this before, so I'd have to.
When you take a drink and pull it, take a pull, it really brings that chocolate.
Oh yeah.
That chocolate
the
down. You can really.
That's why I did that. That's why I kept.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on, what is this?
So what does this stick go for, Johnny?
$12.
$12. That is not expensive at all.
And I think,
Not for this.
I think they're $10, $11 at most cigar shops, but since I'm there for convenience, I usually jack my prices up to pay for gas.
You know, Total
Yeah.
Wine. You know what they charge for this? $13.49.
Well, I need to go up on my prices.
That's why when you said 12, I was like, "Are you serious?" Because I go to Total Wine to get these because Bailey's doesn't carry them, and it's $13.49, and I'm all like, "Take my money. I don't care. Take my money." That's how much I like it.
It's literally like you're having a dessert. You know, I would. After a good meal, I would totally have this.
And it's so smooth.
Yeah, it's
it is
smooth,
so
and
smooth.
I think about all the thousands of cigars I smoked in the past compared to the last 6 or 7 years where I really got into cigars, and how much crap I smoked in the past.
Oh,
I
what?
thought I was enjoying it, and I didn't know what I was doing. Kind of like your story with the when you first smoked the floor.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that touches me the most out of doing this show is having guys like Johnny who are seasoned cigar smokers to be like, you know what, you guys turned me on to a new stick because you reviewed on the show, and I'm just like, that's
crazy.
awesome. That's awesome.
But that's also why we do the show. We do the show so we can branch out and taste everything, and then give our opinions on it. And
I remember when I smoked my first Bahica 52, it was almost like the Wizard of Oz. When Dorothy walks out, she's in the black and white house, and she opens the door, and everything's
all
color.
Right. Yeah, you were all like, there's no going back. My buddy Andre, who had given me one, he was like, you're never going to want to smoke another cigar.
yeah,
Like,
that's the hard part.
They keep saying they'll give me one, but he never has.
I'm going to get him to get you one. Andre, we're going to hook this
Yeah,
boy
we
up.
gotta get
We're going to
him.
hook him up with a Bahique. We have to. He deserves it. It's a going away present.
But and I'm not talking bad about him. I'm just saying is that it's a harder pull. Like you have to really pull in the cigar.
It's a little tighter of a pull.
Yes, it's
not like
completely
this.
tight. No, this doesn't take much to get all those flavors just with the symphony.
And if you let it smolder for a couple of minutes, it still produces just like you had just hit it. Like it's amazing like that. But we were talking about weddings. Tell everybody at home, like, what is it if they want you? What does it cost?
Basically, I just went up on my prices just because I was getting busy. But it's $400 $100 an hour for the first 4 hours, and then $300 is minimum sales.
Okay.
And after that $300, if you want to keep the tab going, or do you want the guests to be responsible for their own cigars after that, that's their call there. But 80% of them are all open humidor.
All right, so I'm going to geek out on you, so get ready for some questions. They're not going to be like Ethan level questions.
Okay.
They're going to be regular. All right. So how many weddings would you say you've done in your career as the smoking section?
Well, that's kind of, I don't get to do as many because of we had the
pandemic kind of messed everything up.
I had the cancer first, and then I had the pandemic, so I've had several speed bumps along the line.
Right.
Probably at least 2 a month.
Okay.
And but during festival season, we're busy. We do the crawfish festival.
And what would you say is the average size of these weddings?
Probably 150 people.
150. And what percentage would you estimate of those people buy a cigar?
Probably 30%, and 10% of those are actually cigar smokers, and the other just a little drunk kid that are, woo, you know, look at me, I got a cigar, you know.
So has running this business and doing weddings, has it taught you anything about the size of cigar fans in this community?
Actually, I'm increasing the size of the fans. I have so many people. There's a lot of people in here that'll see this. They'll walk in there. They say, "Oh, this is so cool." And then as soon as they say, "My grandfather used to smoke cigars. I love the smell," I got them right there.
You got them.
Sales pitch, and
it sells itself.
All I got to do is reel them in. You know. It's
exactly. That's what I love about it is doing our show, learning just how big it is.
And
it's crazy.
The more than anything, I have to teach people how to smoke. Most people are never taught how to smoke a cigar, and they don't know anything about
or
it.
how to properly light it.
Yeah. But the most important thing is the smoke it slow and the cool pull.
Yep.
You know, as long as you get a cool pull, you know, if you get a headache, I tell you, if you get a headache from a cigar,
you're not doing it right.
It's not the cigars. You're getting a nicotine. You're getting overdosed on nicotine. You're burning this thing up so fast.
I used to have really harsh hangovers from cigars, and then the first time I came in here when you were at Tesh, and you were like, you gave me the basic guidelines: 2 puffs a minute, Keep a cool pool filled where it's hot. If it's more than like half an inch down there, it's too hot. You need to let it chill. And I did that, and I was just like, son of a bitch, this is a lot more enjoyable. The flavors. I used to notice that when I would smoke a cigar, like one puff would be great, one puff would be acrid. And you're like, why is it so inconsistent? It's like because the dumbass who was smoking it didn't know what he was doing.
Yep.
And so I learned a lot from that, so I appreciate that. And I'm glad we can pass that on to our fans. Now that we've discussed the wedding stuff, did you guys happen to see the UFC fights last night?
I didn't get to see him. I was working.
You were working. That's right.
Yeah, it's a tough
You
job.
working
Somebody
man,
has to
you.
do it.
We're gonna get back to wedding stories though, but I gotta talk about this. So, for you, any of you who watched, did you guys happen to notice a certain Asian fighter with the name Song Yadong, as in song like la la la, and then Yadong as in Yadong?
Yeah.
So we're watching this guy's fight. He's fighting a guy named Phillips. That was his last name, and they had.
The Matrix.
On the crawler, like the graphic, you had Phillips and then you had Yadong.
Phyllis, you know.
And Joe Rogan, who's a comedian, like we're watching this with bated breath, like what is this dude gonna say? Because like I would give my left nut to be able to work Joe's job for that fight.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, Yadong's looking good, you know, like I.
They've got some good material. Yeah.
And
He didn't say one
he
word.
didn't say Yadong
Not one
one
word.
time. He would call him Song. And it's like Joe, you've never referred to a fighter by their first name. In all the years I've been watching you since like UFC 16, you know, and then John Anik was just saying, Song Yadong, Song Yadong. Like, he wouldn't say it either. And we're like, dude. And then before we know it, they changed the graphic and they put Song on. They changed his name.
They changed it mid-fight. And normally, like in the lower left-hand corner, everyone's popping up with their little Twitter feeds.
All the tweets, yeah.
Saying, oh, look how good Yadong's doing.
That's so hilarious. He's got thongs on the head.
It was his first fight, dude. I gotta be honest. Yadong was looking stiff out there.
I mean, we were waiting for I was like, oh my God, it's going to be awesome. Not one Twitter feed came through. Not one.
Crazy.
And so then I went ahead and put something on
Facebook
Facebook about it, and I put it right here. You're gonna be able to see it. And I just mentioned the little issue with the name, and then my people did the rest, and it was just a runaway train of Yadong jokes.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, and that's why you need to be friends with cigar people. Because we do crazy stuff like
It
that.
was a trip. I mean, literally, the entire fight, we were doing nothing but cracking jokes.
I was really expecting Phillips to take him down and ride Yadong for a while.
Yes, he did.
But by the end, man, Yadong was looking swollen.
Oh, he was really swollen.
He got touched a lot.
That one eye was completely shut.
Beat him wrong.
You saw that he came out. His walkout outfit was
Came out.
his walkout shirt was a turtleneck.
So he wasn't circumcised.
Oh my God.
And his music was cheesy.
That's bad.
Oh my God, it writes itself.
It does.
It does.
It does.
You can't
Like
really-
I should be working for the UFC.
From that.
I just want to cover their Asian fights.
Oh my God! The sad part is that Phillips. He's called the Matrix or something. He was destroying them
Yeah.
the whole fight. Like it took away because the puns.
How could you not want to beat the dong?
I couldn't believe Yadong took a beating for that long.
Oh, he did take.
I figured he would just be done.
You must have been real practicing.
Oh my
a
God.
lot of practice on your dog.
Can you imagine having a spar with Yadong?
Oh man, he definitely would keep it stiff.
This is horrible.
Phillips is-
Anyway, all right.
Phillips is
I
used to
got.
beating his dong.
Yeah, that's sad that they. I mean, I can't believe, especially Joe. Like, you're so sad, Joe. I mean, just one. You couldn't just crack one joke. Just one.
You know that they put in his ear before and like, Joe, the next fight, do not say his last name. Do not say
Manager.
anything about Yadong. Do you understand?
His manager probably made him sign a contract. You know?
Like they've got half-naked girls carrying cardboard signs with numbers on them. It's a literal blood sport. There was
Yeah.
blood all over the cage, but God forbid you make a dick joke.
Yeah.
Oh.
when the card girls were walking around, was the dog got straight. You know,
You can tell when your dog is excited. That is for sure.
Oh, dude, if he would have got knocked out, your dog went stiff.
Okay. All right.
Sorry,
let's,
you don't.
let's steer this ship back on course here. Weddings. All right. Tell me some of the crazy stuff that's happened.
well, I did a political wedding 2 weeks ago that had a lot of political people in it. Jeff Landry sat in here and smoked a cigar with us, and
Oh, wow.
that was a good time. Didn't get to visit with him much because
Yeah.
he draws a crowd everywhere he goes.
I'm sure.
The week before that, I did a wedding in Opelousas that the whole wedding party, the groom and the whole wedding party, were all Navy fighter pilots. That
Whoa.
lands on aircraft carriers, and two of them's fathers were there, and they were aircraft pilots also. One of them had 47,000 hours in the air in his lifetime. He flies for FedEx now. But there were some amazing stories coming out of those guys. It was awesome.
Yeah, my brother used to date a girl who her brother was a Blue Angel, whatever they are, Blue Angel or whatever. Those guys are nuts. Those guys are nuts. I mean, they're like...
Man, the caramel is really coming out strong in the middle.
I told you.
Oh, my goodness. It's like one of those candies where it's like dark chocolate. Like a...
Werther's Original?
No. Chocolate Reasons. The Swiss candy where it's like hard caramel with dark chocolate over it and you suck on it. You got to soften the caramel because it'll break your teeth if you don't. That's what this tastes like.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal cigar. I don't know how I've never tried this. And you told me this like once or twice. You gotta try this.
I even bought one for the sole intention of giving it to you and it didn't survive. I should have bought two. That was my bad, John. That was my bad. My B.
No, this is for a Nicaraguan. I mean, the ones that I've had so far, all the Nicaraguan cigars have always been, like I like harsh cigars. So for me to say it's harsh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And all of them that I've had so far were harsh. This is not. This is so smooth. This is a buttery, silky smooth.
It's silky, yes.
You're like, what is happening?
I don't know if it would be my everyday cigar. But
I could.
It would be. It'd be
Yeah.
once a week anyway. It'd be once a week anyway.
It would be in my rotation.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Especially pairing it with this.
Yeah.
I mean, they go together
Yeah.
like
I
peanut
just-
butter and jelly.
We need to just make it big so we can retire and then do a nut job and smoke cigars and
There you
drink.
go.
How about taking something like this on the road?
Let's go.
And just hit every state.
Speaking of going on the road, we were in Natchez this weekend, and there was a cigar shop / coffee bar. I'd never
Nice.
seen that particular blend before. It was like
That's
it was
a
the
good idea,
steampunk espresso bar and cigar lounge. And I'm just like, we were just walking, because it was a beautiful day. We had just gotten breakfast, and we were just checking out the town because Natchez is very historic looking.
Yeah.
And so we're walking, and I see that, and like immediately I turn into Tina Fey from 30 Rock. I'm like, I want to go to there. I was like, and Lindsay's like, we're gonna go in there. I'm like, yes, because I forgot, like she likes cigars now, and so she comes in there with me, and we go in there, and we go in the humidor, and like before I know it, she just dumps a handful of cigars in, like, hold these, and I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Would you like a basket?
So I'm just looking over. There's a lot of really great stuff. They had they had a really big My Father line. They had the Judge, they had the Bijou, they had the Connecticut, they had the Don Pepin, and I was like, ooh, I want to try one of those. And then there was some Ligas, and then you had a very big Fuente selection, and then there was some acids and other stuff, but like we scoff at that, so whatever. And then
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just got a text message that said, some people just came in for whiskey and cigars. I told them to go to Bailey's and gave them directions, told them to use your code.
who was that?
It's Hannah. She's just like, yeah, they came in for whiskey and cigars. That's just crazy. That stuff happens all the time.
I
to
love
both of
Bailey's.
us.
I wish I go. I'm always full of good intentions. I always have good intentions to stop by and see Gary. I've never even met the weekend people, but
It's a fun group of guys.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Speaking of Bailey's, I forgot to say, this week's promo code, everybody, is Corona.
Corona.
make sure you say Corona.
I didn't choose that word in a pandemic. That would be, not something I would go to. But they were like, no, screw people, make them uncomfortable, make them go search for Corona. Like, okay, all right,
I
fine.
have the cigar,
But get 10% off your purchase if you go to Bailey's, but don't say I have the Corona. No, that's not what you're gonna say. Just say
Yeah, they'll throw it
Corona.
out quick.
Okay,
Actually, they'll charge you an extra 10% if you say
Right.
I have the Corona.
they'll make you smoke your cigar with a face mask, and we all know how much of a party that is. Okay.
But yeah, that kind of stuff happens all the time. So don't forget to use that because you get 10% off.
10%, man, can't beat it.
Saving you money.
Can't beat it. But back to the cigar shop in Natchez. So I'm really excited. We ended up getting like $150 in cigars, and I was just like, I don't even have room to store these at home, you know? I'm like, okay, whatever. And then as I'm walking out, there's another humidor inside the walk-in, and it says private collection. So I'm like, well, now I'm going to snoop.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So I start looking, and it's like boxes of Hoyos,
Wow.
boxes of Romeo Juliet, and it's all Hecho e Cuba. I'm like, this son of a bitch
How's he get away with that?
has his own little private stash. And then looking, he's got Bolivar Libertadors, which are like
Excellent.
big old mama jamas, and they're amazing. Everything he had in there, I was just like, oh, I want all that, you know? So I was like, I gotta go talk to this guy, but he wasn't in, but I got his card, so I'm gonna reach out to him. But man, the idea of going to a show there, it was so kitschy. It looked so awesome on the inside. They had all kind of cool. I mean, as cool and cigar as this trailer is, that's what their store looked like. And the idea of taking our show on the road, like if you have any cigar joints that stand out as like exemplary, let us know. Put it in the comments. We'll go check it out. We'll, see the website, and if it's close, we'll take a road trip and smoke some sticks over there.
Yeah, I love checking out these. Like this just made my day right here. Finding a diamond in the rough like this is cool for me.
You know, you're just talking about cigar shops. One of the reasons that I got the idea to do this was when I first moved to Lafayette. I lived in Houston, Nashville, all over Texas, Dallas. And they always had really nice cigar shops with wood and leather all in them. I moved to Lafayette, everybody has painted walls and cloth chairs, and you walk in the door and you walk out there and you just stink of cigar smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And wood and leather doesn't absorb smoke. If you walk out of here, smell like cigars because it's on your clothes when you smoking a cigar, but it's not. But in the bigger cities, you always get really nice all wood, all leather cigar shops, and I thought, well, we need one of those. And, that's how I come out with this idea. Was they needed a good, classy place. You know?
So you're going back to Texas?
Yeah, it's a crazy story that my best friend I've known since I was 11 years old, another friend I've known since I was 20. We used to always joke around about retiring out somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and a couple of years ago they called me up and said, okay, we both bought property out here, come see us. And I said, whoa, I thought we was joking. You know? And I went out there, and it's on Lake Ivy. It's in the north side of the hill country, 155,000 acre lake, and found a bargain on a piece right on the water, and thought, I got one more invention left in me, you know, one more adventure left in me. I've lived here for 7 years. That's the most I've lived anywhere since I was 20 years old. I've been traveling all over the country.
Wow.
And,
so when is your goodbye date?
Probably May, 1st of May, probably.
So the world only has a finite amount of time to catch you over here before you abscond to Texas. Yeah. Are you going to be back at the brewery between now and then?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I got the reason we're waiting until May is because we got to build a house out there, and I already had wedding commitments all the way through May. So right now I'm not booking anything past the end of May. But,
well, you're going to be missed.
Well, I'll definitely come back for a visit because I've been all over the country, and one of the reasons I was transferred here 20 years ago, and absolutely fell in love with Louisiana. Every place else I've been, you can meet friends, but you don't make good friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can make visiting, how you doing kind of friends, but around here there's no drama. People just love people. They love food. They love cigars. You know, they just this really, really cool place. And when I met my wife in Houston, when we first started dating, I said, well, if you're gonna hang out with me, you're gonna end up in Lafayette. And I got a chance to transfer over here, and I did 7 years ago.
Well, hey, my wife is from Minnesota, and it was the same thing. She fell in love with it down here. Yeah. At first, she was like,
how can you not? You know?
What's up with these people? Because it's a different culture.
Shock first.
You know, there was a severe culture shock, but then she learned more about it. She opened up to it, and now she's more Cajun than me.
And my favorite part is there's no drama around here. You know, I always use the example of you can go anywhere else in the United States and somebody get on the dance floor in a chicken suit, and everybody's like, oh my God, look at her, she's nuts, you know. When around here, they like, you go, girl, you know. And that's their attitude around here. They don't care what you
Man,
do.
we like to pass a good time, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So I'll definitely be back. You know.
So you mentioned you had a Bahiki, so I want to pick your brain a little bit about this because I'm, as we have announced on the show before, I'm in a lot of cigar groups, and I'm a lightning rod for conflict, apparently.
Yeah.
And one of the topics that's come up a lot is whether or not the Behike is deserving of its accolades and the reputation that it's gotten. A lot of people say no, that they say it's uninspired, it's too bland, it's too mild. So
They must be getting the fakes.
I've only had a couple, okay, but I look at you as having like a PhD in cigars because you made a lifetime commitment to cigars that we're sitting in right now. So I think that comes with some weight. So what you mentioned about fake cigars. So what do you think about this perception issue on the Behike?
Well, I'm a teach his own kind of guy. You can sit there. I can sit there and tell you how good it is all day long. But whatever our perceptions are different. It's like the old joke says. If, like Grandpa said, if everybody liked the same thing, everybody be trying to crawl on top of Grandma. It's just everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Just because our taste buds are different. A lot of people love coffee cigars. I don't drink coffee, so I'm not a big coffee cigar kind of guy. But I'm not going to tell you my opinion on coffee cigars because that's not me to judge what you like, what you don't like. So
Yeah.
if they don't like it, more for me.
But would you describe the Behike as a mild cigar?
Maybe on a mild scale, probably about an 8 on a 1 to 10 scale. It's a high mild or a medium. I didn't mean to say mild, but I'd go more than medium.
So the thing about the Behike that I find so mesmerizing is that as far as flavor notes go, it's like an 11. It breaks the scale on flavor strength, but it's not oppressive. It's not an aggressive smoke. So it has a mouthfeel of a milder stick. So I would say like medium, but it has the flavor of like a super full. Like you smoke a black label cigar from Nicaragua, and they are very full flavored, but they're also very full body. Like both of those needles are buried, and you're just like, my goodness, this is a beast of a cigar. But the Behike, it's like so effortless, and the smoke is so light. It's like you can inhale it, but by the last third, you're like high as a kite.
That's what I was going to say. The Behike is similar to this cigar. You really don't have to break it down because it just kind of flows. You just kind of go with the flow, and you're just enjoying it. You don't have to stop every once in a while. And what am I doing here? It's just a great cigar. I love them. Yeah.
And John, you've had a Behike. What are your thoughts?
I guess if I can put it in my kind of terms, it's kind of like the industry standard. Like it's like that's what you have to beat. You got to beat that, And I believe a lot of cigars are coming near it, but I don't think that they're there yet.
Like this, I would say this cigar is about, when people talk about how good Nicaraguan tobacco is, I would think this is a great example of that because there's nothing negative to say about it.
Yeah.
It's great in everything that it does. I don't think it quite has that effect like a Behike does as far as like what that flavor can do. It's really lovely. It's really nice. But as far as like Red Fox, like I'm having a heart attack, give me a minute, it's not like that. That's what the Behike does. So if you're watching at home and you're curious what we're talking about, get the Behike. Find someone that you can get them online.
One.
Get a real one.
You have to get
there. Look up how to tell the difference. But like, if you smoke cigars and want to understand what Olympus is, where the gods hang out, it's the Behike. That's what you really just have to try. I'm about to take my band off, guys.
Yeah, I'm right there too.
You know why I originally got these? Well, not only because they were 2019 Cigar of the Year, but during hunting season, I do really good with the LeBijous and these because they're box press. And one of my big selling points for cigars, when people stop in and say they're going duck hunting, they're going deer hunting, I said, if you get this cigar right here, you can set it down on your deer stand and it's not going to roll off. So they'll sit there and grab those square cigars because they're not going to roll off in their.
I never thought about it like that, but yeah. My father and the Aging Room were both.
And the only box press I had was little Bijou, and I said, I need to get me another box press. I'm going to order some of these, and I ended up loving it.
Nothing wrong with those. Nothing wrong. So you mentioned 20 years ago. What else were you doing 20 years ago?
Hanging out at Sticks Billiards.
Hanging out at Sticks Billiards. Meet any interesting people over there?
Well, it was amazing. I met this guy named Alex. He was all right, But,
what?
20 years ago, I used to be in. I used to have a little billiard business when I was up in Alaska, and moved down here. And I couldn't shoot pool like everybody else shot pool, but I enjoyed like cigars. I enjoyed the industry of it. Sold cues and recover tables and stuff like that. And I walked into Sticks Billiards, and I sat down, and they got this beautiful bar back behind the bar, and Mark Lanche was sitting beside me. I didn't know he was the owner, and I recognized the name, the brand of the bar, and I said, "Is that William and Hines bar?" And he says, "Buy this man a beer." He said, "I paid a ton of money for this bar. You're the first person that recognized it, you know." and after that, we became fast friends, and it was a pretty much every night hangout there. It was a
Where were you in Alaska?
Prudhoe Bay. I was working the oil field up there.
Oh, okay.
Dead Horse, Alaska.
Yeah.
On the slope is what they call it, you know. Spent 10 years up there. I lived in Texas. I flew back and forth every 2 weeks, and so it was an experience.
Wow. And our paths crossed because I was in college in the 90s, and I did not know how to socialize. I was one of those classic autist kids where it's like, I'm not comfortable in social settings, and the angles and physics of pool were something that my mind was more comfortable dealing with than women, and so I like lived at Sticks.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what year I met you, but when I started going to Sticks, I had just turned 18, and the drinking age had been 21 for a little while, and I lied about my age for like 4 years to be able to drink for free, and I had to keep changing my age as I got older. And so to all my old Sticks friends, sorry about that.
Always happens all the time. Mark tells one story about one of the girls that had hung out there for 2 years, and then had her 21st birthday party at Sticks. And Mark's like, "What are you doing?"
Been here for like 4 years, lady.
Whoops! Oh my God! Did you? I remember your son Josh used to work there too. Whatever happened to him?
Oh, he's managing a restaurant in Dallas, doing really good. He did stand-up comedy for a while. Did really good with that. He got to open up for Mitch Hedberg.
Are you serious?
Ron White. He opened up for Ron White. He became the go-to guy for the Improv of Dallas. To every time a show was coming to town.
Mitch Hedberg was like my all-time favorite comic.
Yeah, he's hilarious. I saw him live when I saw Josh open up for him.
Man, I mean, I've opened up for some pretty big names, but not Mitch Hedberg. That would be like my dream. I mean, that would be weird because he's dead, but you know.
Yeah, my favorite Mitch Hedberg joke is playing his stereo too loud. The neighbor knocked on the wall. He walked over there and said, "There's not a door on my side of the
Go around, not a door." Like, I don't know what there is on the other side, but over here there's nothing.
Yeah, I love Mitch. Yeah.
Oh my God, one of my favorite Mitch Hedberg jokes. It's so corny, but it's like that's my style of humor. It's like, in my room, I want to hang a map of the world, and I want to stick pins in all the places that I've been to. But first, I have to travel to the top 2 corners of the map so it won't fall down.
Yeah. I had a buddy of mine, Byron, out at the Bayou Teche, said something funny the other day. He said that him and his girlfriend decided they were going to take a trip somewhere in the world, so they decided to pin a globe up on the wall, and take a dart and throw it at it. Wherever it landed, that's where they were going to go. So he said, evidently we're going to spend 2 weeks behind the refrigerator.
Whoops. So has anybody ever hired you to do like a bachelor party or a bachelorette party?
A lot of people want to, but I always convince them that the wedding reception is the place to go, because bachelors, they kind of want to venture out and go bar hopping, and they don't like to stay in one place, you know. But at the wedding reception, it has a place for
that, and the stains in the upholstery, I imagine, would be pretty bad.
Yeah, it's smart. Talk them out of it.
Everybody wants me to put a stripper pole in here.
You walk in here and everything's covered in visco, and you're like, "Is Dexter coming to this thing?" You're like, "Nope, just taking precautions."
One of the biggest lines I get in here.
Why does this place look like a Jackson Pollock?
Yeah. One of the lines I get in here is everybody says, "Where are you going to put the stripper pole at?" And I say, "Well, I tried, but they keep knocking the drinks over and kicking cigars out of people's hands. So
I
it's
can
a lap
imagine
dance
that'd be a
only
problem.
place, you know.
Good Lord. We also have a segment I wanted to get to, the what you smoking section, and basically that's where if there's anything interesting that we or anybody at home has smoked recently, tell us about it. Put it in the comments, because if it's interesting, I'll feature it on the show. So, guys, people, what you smoking? Anything you want to talk about?
Definitely, and if we don't feature it on the show, we might just make it a nub,
Yeah.
because that's always fun.
You have to put it on the nub show because it's such a short smoke. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Put it on with your dong.
Okay, fellas, please. I know you think about your dong a lot, but like, Let's try to focus on the stick, not that stick.
Not his stick.
Oh my god! It's the shtick of his stick. Anything you want to share with the group?
Well, thank you so much for giving us this cigar, man. This is like a treat, and it doesn't give me the nicotine high.
It's gentle.
It's just a gentle, great smoke. That's it.
This is like a Bloody Mary cigar. Like if you're hammered the next morning, you know, you're like,
you
oh,
need that,
you have a Bloody Mary. This is the cigar you smoke when you're like, oh, I've had too many cigars, I can't have one.
I do love the cigar with the Bloody Mary.
Oh, wow.
That's one of, even better than that, sit down with some good peppery beef jerky, a Bloody Mary and a cigar. Excellent.
Dude, that's like... So my big things, I love to have a cigar with bourbon. I've started enjoying them also with Irish whiskey because of Andre. And I've also had some with rum. All very...
That rum we had the other night.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Cuban rum. It was fantastic. But I know you're not a coffee drinker, but like espresso with a good stick in the morning is like... It pisses my wife off because she goes to work at 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30, you're there at 9:30.
And I walk in at 10:30. Oh, it's now fancy you coming in. I'm like, well, my cigar needed to finish, you know? I'm like, sorry.
It's good to be
I
king.
couldn't just let it go.
I know. It's like, you smoke. You don't want to be rude at the stick. You want to show it its due appreciation. Well, I have one I want to talk about. Every time I go to a cigar place, I look for like hidden gems, hard finds. A couple. Well, I went to Piper's Haven last week because that's just down the street from our studio. I had a hearing that day, and so I had some time to kill. So I'm like, I'm gonna go check out the guys over there. And I go in there, and there's some fellas in the smoking room, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna help myself to the humidor. I want to look around, and it was much bigger than I anticipated, and they had almost the entire Opus line.
Oh, very nice.
They had way more than I thought there were. And they had a really nice Rocky Patel section. They had a really nice Padron section. Very cool. And I reached out to them, got the owner's information. I'm going to see if I can get them to maybe collaborate with us. But I ended up picking up like one of each of the Opus ones. So I was like, I can't help myself. So, you know, I gotta try them. And I smoked one of them. It was the Opus X Bellicoso. And I looked it up, and it was like a 92 on Cigar Afficionado. And like everybody was all like, oh, it's so good. It started off, it was really well prepared. It had a great burn. It had a great draw. It made great smoke. But man, the flavors really never took off. You know, it started off pretty rich in cocoa, mild in leather, and then like as it went, it never went anywhere. It just kind of stayed the same. And by the end, I got bored of it. I was just like, yeah, I got bored of it. And I thought that, I mean, I've been smoking a lot of Nicaraguan tobacco, and so Dominican, it's like it struggles to keep up with the flavor, and that's something that I've heard and I've experienced that. But I was shocked, you know, that an Opus wouldn't. But then I talked to a lot of people about Opuses, and that was generally the opinion is like they're very well done. You have to let them age to really get the most out of them. But if you're a fan of full flavored Nicaraguan sticks, it's going to be a little light for you. And I'm like, well, that's exactly what it was. Yeah. Because of Ethan, I've now been smoking a lot of Black Label stuff. Thanks, Ethan. And
another cigar that's killing it.
Black Label is known for full body, full flavor. Yep. And it's not, it's a lot more user friendly than I thought. I thought it was going to be like one of those Punisher sticks where they're like, this is an exercise in sadomasochism because you're like, this is killing me.
It's that label.
But it's actually a very smokable stick that just, the flavor changes and matures as you go through it. So it's never like cloying where you're like, this is too much, I have to put it down. You enjoy it the whole way through to the nub. And I'm really gravitating to that. And I thought the Opus was just not good enough. But one stick I did have that I want to talk about was the My Father Don Pepin Garcia, which is a 91 or 92 rated, depending on where you go. But it's made by My Father, which is a fantastic stick, as we've already discussed. It was like vanilla and caramel and cardamom, like a dessert stick. It had the sweetest to it. Lindsay was smoking a Romeo and Juliet Habano, and I gave it to her, and she was like, I like this better. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? Because like the Cuban cigar is amazing, but it really was just like, I live to see John's face when he smokes a new stick. Like I knew he was going to just absolutely go fanboy on the Aging Room, and so I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun show to watch, and so we have to get that down, Pat. So, what about you, John? Anything you've smoked recently that stands out?
Well, not so much recently, but one cigar, one of my best sellers, is the Olivia B. Melanio. It's just a fantastic little smoke. It's a good smoke. It's a for, like I say, I don't get a lot of real heavy duty. Most people that smoke the Opus and top line cigars usually bring their own, so that's not a lot of my sales. So I don't carry a lot of those. But I always recommend the Olivia for people that want to go to that next step, you know.
Yeah.
And now it's the Aging Room.
What was the one you gave me last night? The one you were like, oh, I got a bunch of these.
Rocky Patel Vintage 92.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
But he's got some in his humidor.
dude, that last night I was impressed by that. I was like, well, Rocky Patel doesn't ever let me down, hardly ever. I mean, some of their edges, yeah.
Yeah, but those are their like, bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
But that one last night, I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
I've never had a vintage that wasn't
carried
great.
it for a while, and I carry the Catch 22 and which other one I carry, the 92, but they don't get, not really big sellers for me. You know.
Well, it's probably because if you are a non-smoker, it's not going to catch your eye.
Yeah.
It's very
And
modestly.
that's probably 70% of my audience is like the people that are too intimidated to walk into a cigar shop will walk in here.
Mm-hmm. And it is intimidating if you don't know because it's overwhelming.
First you walk in the door, you have a lot of me, and who's this? Who's this?
Mm-hmm.
Checking you out, and and you walk in there, and there's 5,000 cigars. You don't have anybody to explain what's what, what's what's
I bet
mild,
people buy the Perdomo because that band is really pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna make cigars or if you're gonna sell them, like that has to be a consideration.
Like Gurkha, let's sell a band. You know?
That's why I was talking about the black label. Sometimes that's
Sorry,
probably
I didn't mean to bring
off-putting
up
to some
Gurkha.
people.
That should have been the word.
What? Anyway.
The black label is what I was saying. The label might be off-putting to some people. Like they might think that they're gonna have like an acid cigar, you know, or something like that, and to where they're just like, I'm not.
I didn't say this in front of Ethan, but you're exactly right because I'm more of a cigar purist. I don't like infused flavors. I like how well can you roll this tobacco? How good is the tobacco?
Yeah.
I want a taste of that. And so when I see black label sticks, they look too hipster.
Yeah.
They look very trendy, and I'm like, are you trying to appeal to people who don't know what a good cigar is? Because like I want a band that looks like you guys have been making cigars since the flood.
Well, speaking of great bands,
You know?
one of my new top sellers is the Fat Bottom Betty's Leather Roses.
Well, all of those.
They're flavored cigars, but the people are attracted to the band because they got the little.
They're
band
pretty.
head, you know.
I mean, that was my wife's first real cigar to go to. Where those, what's the series called? There's like the leather.
Deadwood.
All those Deadwoods. Yeah. She was drawn to them because of the aesthetic of the band.
I've never smoked one, but I sell the shit out of them.
And she kind of liked them, but it didn't take long before she graduated out of the infused cigar. She's like, I can't. I'm like, so I have a whole bunch of them at the house that I'll get rid of if anybody wants them, but I'm not going to smoke them.
I think I might be having a different experience than you guys. I've not had to light my cigar once. It's just been hitting the mark every time.
Well, I mean, I had to realize because I took a break and I'm going to let it go out.
Okay.
I just even mine out because it was burning through.
And then, like, I could tell that the flavors was changing because my burn wasn't even.
I'm getting a lot more chocolatey now.
And so I needed to touch it up.
Yeah.
It is decadently chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate. I love it. So in the comments, tell us what you smoked if you've had anything interesting. I always love it when buddies of mine send me a text message of what they've smoked. Just so they want to get my feedback on it. I got a couple buddies in Spain who reached out to me lately because of my involvement and I get I know. Like, really? There's like 1,000. There's a bazillion dudes like me who smoke a lot of cigars, but for some reason, like, I get hit up and like I don't even show my titties. I don't know. I don't get it.
My cousin asked me to ask you questions all the time. I'm like, John, for the love of God, you're on our Facebook. Why don't you just talk to him? Like, send him a DM. Like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Come on, John. Slide into my DMs.
Slide in my DMs.
Let's do it.
Boy.
I think he's intimidated. A lot of people tell me that I'm intimidating to talk to because I come across intense.
Maybe, and he's not a shy guy. The guy's a agent, so it's like, I know you're not shy. I guess he just wants me to be the buffer. I don't know.
When I first met Alex, we're the total opposite. I'm easy like Sunday morning. His mind goes 99 miles an hour.
Yeah, it does.
I did not make many friends at Sticks. I played pool with everybody, but like I could tell people just tolerate because I was so different. They called me college boy. They college boy. And
I told Josh I ran into you here a while back. He said, "How's that asshole doing?" I'm just saying.
Yeah, your mind does move fast, but I really dig that about him. But I could get where he says, "Oh, it was hard for me at first to make a bunch of friends," because he's so reserved at moments where if you get me on a pool table, I'm a shit talk you from the beginning to the end, even if I'm losing.
Yes, John, we've seen that.
I know a lot of people that win pool like that. They piss the other person off and they get frustrated.
Yeah, that's part of the game for me.
I would play with these guys where they would show their prowess by like making these crazy kick shots, and I never really practiced any of that stuff. Like I would, for literally hours, I would set balls up in patterns, and I would drill where I was like, I got to make them, and I got to pull the cue to a certain spot, and I would just do it over until I could do it perfectly, and then I would try a different configuration, and so it was not so much like practicing massé shots or jump shots or multiple rail kick shots and stuff like that. It was just I wanted to know in any given situation how to control the table and make it play the way I wanted to play. It was like a chess match. And so I would play against these guys who had vastly more trick shot making ability than me. Yet they couldn't beat me in tournament play because they never had a shot. I was like, well, that's on purpose, dude. You know, like my game was not flashy. And people used to judge me because my game was so not flashy. I was like the Larry Bird of pool. It was just very cerebral, and that's just how I did it.
Yeah, at the top of my game is when I was in the military. Because, I mean, every barracks, everything like that, they always have like a community room or whatever, and they always have a pool table in there. And they were always the big pool tables, like, you know, like how you would play if you went to go to tournaments and stuff like that. So that's where I learned how to play. But where I really learned how to play is when I was super young.
I was waiting for this.
I'll let you see an article on Efren Reyes. Have you ever read anything about him?
I know a bit about Efren,
He's an amazing little dude. And, but since he was a kid, he just got it. It was in his head. You know, he just knew. Well,
I used to play with my dad when I was young. And we would go over to my uncle's house, and we would play pool. And I'm talking about I couldn't barely see over, and I was trying to play. And then as I got older, they would invite me to the games only at the end. And like, oh yeah, let the kid play. And then I learned English and how to control the ball. And then I just started getting a lot better. So when I went in the military, I literally would play every day, every single day. So I go out to San Diego where my cousin is, and he's just like, he goes, come on, man, you gotta, let's go play. I'm like, okay. So I got to the point where I was so good, I'd get in your head by, you know, shit talking you. And then I would sit there and I'd just play with one hand, and I'd just be staring at you as I'm hitting the ball. And they would be like, this kid is unbelievable. But I got that good. But now I'm nowhere near where I used to be.
Efren was, he was so small, he would carry a milk crate around with him.
Wow.
Play, and he would win tournaments. And he'd travel across the country kicking everybody's ass.
Some of the guys that I used to play with, they went to Vegas for the league championship, and they got to play with some of the pros, and they would tell me about them, and they told me that Efren was like this little guy who looked like he had never seen a pool table before, and then he would just get up there and he was a god.
But he wanted to hustle. He didn't want to become a famous pool player. His hustle was his game. You know.
I got my butt whooped a couple times. We played a bunch of Marines at Fort Knox. It was me and my buddy Zabel, and I did what I do. I was talking smack the whole time. The last guy got up, and I was like, what are you going to do? Because it was me and Zabel, and there was just one guy, and I hustled the crap out of him. Yeah. I think I took like $100 off him or something. And he goes, oh, you want to step up? And then, like, Marines, it's like cockroaches. They just came out of the woodwork, and we got our butt handed to us. We got beat up so bad. I still had the $100, though. I made sure I took the $100, but, yeah, I got my butt whooped.
Back when I was playing a lot before grad school kind of changed the trajectory of my life, I was training at Sticks. I wanted to be a pro. That was the ambition. That was what I really wanted to do. And I'd gotten to the point where when road players would come in to sticks, they would go to the bartender and they would say, "Who's your guy?"
Yeah.
You know, because they're not just going to sit and scope out all those tables to try to find somebody. They're just going to ask, who's the guy that's local that you know, who's here, who I can get some money from.
Rusty, yeah.
And Rusty was one of those guys, but when he wasn't there, they sent him to me. And I had a couple road players come in. There was this one guy who had an associate, and he came in and and he looked like this trailer park, like leathery, not quite a meth head because he had more of his teeth, but like alcoholic. He didn't look like he was a pool player. And they sent him over to me, and he wanted to play. And I was like, sure. I fucking tarred his ass so bad, and I was just like, whoa, look at me, I'm way better than I thought. Blah, blah. And then this guy comes in from Atlanta. He was an actual professional, and they sent him to me. That dude, holy crap. I never really was one to gamble because I didn't need the edge to be competitive. Because like the way my brain is, like we could be playing for nothing, and I'm going to treat it like it's the World Series. Like that's how I am. You know, I don't. If there's money, then I'm distracted because I'm thinking about losing money, and I hate losing money, and I don't like that. So I got him to play
that way when you play poker, though.
Well, that's different. That's different. But I got him to agree to $5 a rack. And we played all night, and I lost $20 to him. And that dude was just like, it looked effortless for him. Like he wasn't really studying. Every time I would get up there, I was like legitimately like breaking down every shot on the rack to get my out, and he would just get there like beep beep beep. And that was like when I was at my best, and then I stopped playing. And now,
why'd you stop playing?
I
know why I stopped playing.
Well, I stopped playing in 2001, and that's when I really started grad school in earnest, and I just didn't have the time because like those first 2 years of grad school, it's like the military where they're like, all right, well, we're gonna break you down and train your mind on how to think mathematically because that's what you have to do if you're gonna do this. And I didn't have a background in math. I was a chemistry dude and a philosophy guy, so I didn't have the time. So I just quit going, and then when I would go back and play every now and then, my shoulder would start hurting. So I was like, whatever. And
I stopped playing because of Myra, and because we had Myra, and then my daddy duty took over, and I just couldn't play anymore. Because when I wasn't either doing something for my troops, then I was doing the daddy duty, and I had no time. Like even when we had a break, I mean, you're creating classes so you keep your soldiers fresh and stuff like that. Mindset was always in there. I could never get across to the table and just play. Couldn't. It's too much. It's like, oh, that's another thing. She took my stick. My ex-wife took my stick. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she took my stick. She took my clubs, my golf clubs. She took my. I was like, man,
that's just mean.
Yeah, she was very mean.
Well, that's a lovely note to have in the show.
Sorry about that.
So you still do a lot. You still do a lot for the troops? Or?
No, actually, I talked to a bunch of people who are having problems just kind of going into the civilian world now. Kind of everything. It's kind of shutting down. We did a lot. We did the withdrawal from Iraq. Yeah. Still doing the withdrawal through Afghanistan and stuff. But when people have problems, they normally hit me up and they're just like, "You got time to talk?" My buddy Seth, he's probably the most person who he hits me up all the time. He's just like, I can tell when he's like right on edge. He's like, I need to talk to you. We'll talk for like 4 or 5 hours. For your service. Well, thanks for the support.
So this stick is. I'm in my final third now. I want to give some thoughts to the viewers. I know we've praised this cigar a lot, and rightfully so. It is taking on a very like toasty quality in the final third, which I love that. It's not getting like. So I know you're a big Rocky guy. I love Rockies. Who doesn't? Yeah. But my number one gripe with Rocky Patel cigars is that if you don't, they're more persnickety. That's for you.
There you go, John.
If you don't smoke them just right, they turn on you. They turn on you towards the end, and they become like this burnt almond flavor, and it's not a very good flavor note. This is getting very toasted, but it's not getting that.
It's not doing that.
It's not doing that at all. It's still very smooth. It's very nice. It has a little bit of a burnt pretzel quality, which I really, really like that. So, if you haven't, go to Total Wine, go to Cigar Merchant, go to Piper. I mean,
go to Johnny.
Go to Johnny. Come to brewery. You might see me there. Get a stick from Johnny. Have a good time. This is.
If you hit me up on Facebook every Thursday, put where we're going to be at on my Facebook page.
You know, before that, I was always just sending you messages like, "Hey, you're going to be there on Saturday?" Because
a lot
like,
of people do that too. Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, I'm like, all right, we're going." But yeah, so anybody want to start the ratings off before we?
I'll go.
All right.
I'll go first.
All right. Oh, he does. Oh, he wants to make sure that. Okay, he puts me on the spot. All right.
Okay. So the finish is strong. I love the wrapper. That's a huge thing for me now because I'm sorry, if you're going to sell, someone's going to catch the eye of the wrapper. If it looks elegant, it looks like it's put together well, the cigar might be the same, you know? This has everything that I would look for in a cigar. I'm not a fan of Nicaraguan cigars, but I am starting to become a fan.
Where's your origin of preference?
It has to be Cuban. I mean, but I'm not. I mean, but they're just to get the real ones. You're going to spend a little bit, way more money, and so I got to go on my budget, you know. So, but if I had endless money, yeah, I'd smoke Cuban all day long. I mean, that's to me it's like the industry standard. It's like if you can't hit that mark, you shouldn't be playing the game or whatever it is, you know. So this, for me, it's hitting every note. It's a symphony. It's got edge to it. It's got a creamy sense. It's all cocoa. I could smoke this every day and be happy. So for me, I'm gonna give it a 91.
Really?
Yeah.
A 91.
Yeah, it's because it's done everything. I mean,
That's low, man. You've gushed over some other sticks.
Yeah, but this isn't.
You had the Rocky 25th as higher than a 91.
Yeah, but that's why I'm gonna give it a 91.
We'll change
91.
that one.
All right. Okay.
No, I'm just gonna say
All right, Johnny. Take us off. What do
I
you
was
think?
thinking about 92, 93. But one thing I love about this one is I really enjoy the cigar, and then I taste it with the bourbon, and it brings it up the next level.
Mm.
Well, I also have
It's
to
a great
be.
combination of the two.
Yeah, I also have to give some context here. I like a harsh cigar. I like one where you're like, yeah, I'm smoking a cigar, you know? This isn't that. This is more of that. This is a dessert.
This is a tuxedo cigar.
Yeah, yes. Man, he's so articulate when he says that. He'll bring your mind just to that moment. Yes, it's a tuxedo cigar.
I agree. This is not a like a hole in the wall seedy bar cigar.
I got one customer that carries around a little toothpick tool with him, and he sticks them in his cigar, smokes them all the way down till it's burning his lips. And I don't have many cigars I do that with, but I could do that with this one. I'm
Yeah,
all the way down,
it's still
still enjoying it.
doing it just right. Yeah. So I'm not as big of a fan of the harsh cigars as John is. You know, obviously the love of Cuban cigars, they are the gold standard, and I just don't think that other areas get the kind of tobacco that Cuba does. So it's just this is about as well executed as I think a Nicaraguan stick can be. It just is not going to be able to do what a Cuban does. It just won't. So I don't even consider Cuban cigars when I rate. I would give this a 94 because it is. There's nothing negative to say. The burn has been fantastic.
I don't even know what Cigar Afficionado put on it.
I don't remember either. But here's my gripe with Cigar Afficionado. A lot of people go to them as like the source, the authoritative standard of what a cigar is supposed to be. But there's a lot of politics that goes on with Cigar Afficionado, a lot of marketing, and so I've seen a number of cigars that got rated very high over there that I was like, there's no way, dude. That's not that good of a stick. I mean, to me, to be a 90 is to say you're in that highest echelon of what cigars are capable of, and this is well into it. You know, a 91 is a cigar where it's like it's really good, but it's not one where I'd be like, I could be happy with this for the rest of my life. But that's how good this is, and so I think it's a little bit higher than that. And of course, the oiliness of the wrapper. You lick your lips, the flavor you get, your palate, everything about it is a feast. It's decadent, and for the price, dude. Oh yeah,
especially for what Johnny's selling for.
You know, like I would put this up against any of those $25 sticks, those boutique sticks. Like the Liga is a great stick. That's like for this size, probably $15-$16.
I thought they were like more than that. I thought they were like 18.
But we had the Churchills.
Oh, okay.
We had it was a big one, you know. I know you're a fan of Yadong, so I needed to bring the right one.
So you got the nub.
So yeah, I think when you look at all that together, oh man, it's top marks. And so I don't know if I'd put it as a 95, but definitely I feel good about a 94. So that's what I think. And any other matters, gentlemen, before we wrap this puppy up?
No, I'm having a blast with this. I might even keep going.
I'm not going to stop. But I do want to say that if you enjoy watching the show, please look up in your area local cigar meetups, because it is a great way to not only meet new people but learn about new sticks. We did a cigar meetup at El Paso this week. It was sponsored by J.C. Newman, and like I know that name, and so when I saw that they were sponsoring the event and they were going to provide a complimentary stick, I was like, yes, I am going, because two of my favorites are J.C. Newman sticks, the Black Diamond and the Maximus. They are, I don't know if you've had those.
I've had Black Diamond and Maximus.
Oh, you need to get one.
They are like kissing cousins as far as what they're capable of. So on any given day, I might say I prefer one to the other, but they're both absolutely, they're not dessert cigars at all. Like this has the dessert quality. Yeah. The Maximus and the Black Diamond, they're steaks, they're porterhouses, they're beasts of flavor. And by the end, you're just like, I need to undo my belt. You know, like that was a lot. So we went over there and they were giving out Maximus, the big ones.
Oh, very cool.
The big ones.
Oh my goodness, it was outstanding. And so we met some people. We got to eat and hang out, and I can't explain. Like, words don't really do justice how fun it is until you go. And a lot of people I know have gone and they've enjoyed it. And so I really want to encourage you guys to go and go out there, because it's not like what you think of other niche groups where there's a lot of snobbery. It's like you need to prove you're initiated before they'll give you respect. If you go to a cigar meeting and light up a Cuba, we're not gonna ostracize you.
Yeah.
We're gonna think that in here, but we're not gonna say it. It's very welcoming. It's very awesome. And so please check it out. You're not gonna regret it. And then you may find yourself getting into even more. You know what my wife sent me today?
What?
She sent me this handbag, which was a travel humidor for women. She was like, oh my God, I want this. And I'm just like, what have I done? Holy crap. I need to get like a holster humidor, like with a leather thing for my sticks to be able to stay one step ahead of her. Because, I can't have people being like, oh, hey, you're Alex, you're married to that cigar chick, right? I'm like, what? No, she's married to the cigar guy. This is wrong. But that's how infectious the culture is, and every time I see somebody who's like, I'm hooked, I'm in it, I'm like, yes, that's how awesome it is.
I fell in love with the culture before I did the cigars.
Were you smoking back in the day at Sticks?
I started. Yes, I've always smoked. I started out on the golf course, and I used to do competition barbecues, and we'd smoke cigars all night, just cooking briskets all night long, and that was
now I'm
a
hungry.
big passion of mine.
Oh my God!
Smoking cigars and smoking meat too.
Well, we got to wrap this thing
Okay.
up. So with that being said, I'm John Welsh, and I'm the gentleman.
And I'm Alex Hedberg, and I'm the scholar. And this young man is Johnny Johnson with the smoking section. Come see him, and until then, keep it smoky.
Always.